It's that time of year again in March, and it's likely going to be one of the maddest of madnesses we've had in years. Several people will see Duke at the top and pencil them in for the winners of the tournament, except that it completely ignores the point of the bracket. The NCAA tournament is built on the backbone of upsets and Murphy's Law of unpredictability, and so instead we're going to take a step back away from seeding and look at teams the way they should be looked at in the tournament. Eye test, play styles, and other stats besides raw standings, since all supermen will eventually have their kryptonite. Here are 3 teams contenders should not want to see during their matchups in the bracket. We can start with Texas Tech. Even now, they're still one of the more dangerous upset style teams in the country because they've already shown that they can survive Duke's size and talent. Back in December, Texas Tech came back from a 17-point deficit and still beat Duke by 1 point, 82-81, at Madison Square Garden. That game gives you a real example of what I'm about to get into. Duke scored efficiently early, but once the game got dragged into the second half, Texas Tech stayed alive long enough to make Duke uncomfortable. And it only takes 1 point to win. Even though it was only an 82-81 win in the tournament, that could kick you out completely. Duke went just 3 for 13 from 3 in the second half and 6 for 13 from the free throw line, while Texas Tech instead won the points off turnover battles, going 17 compared to 10. This is the exact kind of game that this underdog wants. Texas Tech can start forcing mistakes out of Duke and punishing said mistakes, and that's exactly how they can win, forcing Duke or other teams to play their game and not the other way around. Now obviously the biggest reason to hesitate here is that JT Toppin is out. While previously averaging 21.8 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 1.7 blocks before the ACL injury, that means that Texas Tech lost not only their offensive capabilities, but a lot of that physicality on defense that I'm mentioning. But what makes Texas Tech still worth watching is that they have not fallen apart completely without him, while other teams like to focus on one player. They are still 22-8 overall and 3rd in the Big 12. And since the injury, they've still beaten Kansas State, Cincinnati, and Iowa State, including handing Iowa State its first home loss of the season. That means there's still enough structure and shot making to survive this March Madness tournament even without its best player. Texas Tech is shooting 39.4% from 3 as a team, the best in the Big 12, and they also lead the conference in made threes at 11.5 per game. On the other hand, they're handing opponents 31.5% from 3, which is the 4th best in the league. So even without Toppin, this is still a team that could win the shot value battle. And that's what makes Texas Tech an annoying matchup for Duke specifically. Duke is at its best when it plays in the paint on account of Boozer. Texas Tech defense instead helps push Duke out beyond the arc where they're less efficient and make it a struggle for Duke all 40 minutes. As mentioned, that's exactly what they did before when they forced Duke to just 3 for 13 from 3 in the second half. So if Texas Tech can force a through the paint team beyond the arc, that could be their weakness, ultimately leading to even a 1-point win like before to continue in the tournament. Another team I would watch is if a team like Houston goes up against a team like BYU. I've commented many times on how Houston operates as a defensive team for the last few years repeatedly. A.G. Debansa's biggest strength is in his scouting report is that he can always go get a shot. Houston is the kind of defensive team that can quietly turn that strength into his weakness, because in the same scouting report, A.J. is also stated to settle for contested long-distance mid-range jumpers early in the shot clock instead of using his gravity of double teams to create an easy layup for a teammate. As the top prospect, he starts to give himself the green light to shoot rather than efficiently using court vision for better opportunities. In a high-stakes tournament game, if those tough shots aren't falling, he can accidentally start to freeze his teammates, making BYU's offense predictable and easy to guard with a simple double team or more. Houston's entire defensive strategy plays exactly into that. Houston crowds your space and speeds up your decisions. It makes every single possession feel much more urgent than it should. They're averaging 7.9 steals per game, forcing 14 turnovers per game, while only having 8.3 turnovers themselves. Mix that in with the added effect of tournament television and thousands of fans, and you can feel rushed and forced to make a decision, which AJ has proven to often make the wrong one. In a game against Cincinnati, they lost 90-68 on March 4th, with BYU turning it over 10 times in the first half and got outscored 21-4 on points off turnovers. While AJ still got his numbers with 23 points, he did it just on 7 for 21 shooting, just trying to keep the team from drowning, which they ultimately did. BYU has still been shown to be able to handle themselves in these sort of scenarios though, where they've handled elite defenses, shooting 50% on twos and committing only 9.6 turnovers per game across 11 games against top defenses. So a Houston-BYU matchup could easily go either way. Either BYU adapts like they have in the past, or Houston continues to do what they're best at and mess up BYU. Also, if you've made it this far in the video and you like my analysis, be sure to subscribe and stick around for more videos like this, where I break down the stats and numbers behind things rather than the anecdotal media stories that are fed to you. The final team to watch would be Yale for almost the opposite reason as Houston. While Houston wants to rush you into difficult situations, Yale will make the 40 minutes stretch out into a slow-paced game where fast break type teams won't get into their natural rhythm that they're used to. Ken Palm lists Yale at just 64.8 possessions per game, which is 320th nationally. So this is not a team that wants chaos like others. They instead want patience, discipline, and a game where things start to feel empty. That's dangerous against the other fast break teams because the fewer possessions there are, the less time a fan favorite has to overwhelm you. This could be a problem for teams like Alabama. Alabama plays at one of the fastest tempos in the country and builds its offense off of volume. Ken Palm has Alabama at 73.1 possessions per 40 minutes, which is 4th nationally, a stark contrast compared to Yale. Alabama is also scoring 92 points per game, the most in Division I. Yale, meanwhile, again plays at 64.8 possessions and still posts in a good offense of 81.5 points per game, 49.7% from the field, and 40.1 from 3. Alabama and Yale have already played this season with Alabama winning, but that doesn't mean that come tournament time, this still won't be disruptive to them. So if Yale can get a game where scoring is only in the 60s rather than the 70s and 80s, and they're still scoring efficiently themselves, they can maybe squeeze by. Alabama's defense is not really built for a matchup that's that surgical in the offense. They're allowing 83.6 points per game, which ranks 356 nationally. Yale can absolutely make Alabama play a game where Alabama doesn't get to put up volume shots, and Yale's own shot selection starts to matter more than each possession that they have. This is the type of thing that makes March Madness a madness. Teams seen as giants can ultimately be beat simply because a lower seeded team has the perfect composition to counteract them, like a grass Pokemon going up against a fire type. You have to not only worry about your matchup, but the matchups of others so you don't end up against a difficult counter to you. So let me know down in the comments which team you think is the biggest bracket killer this year, and which contender you think is the most vulnerable to the wrong matchup. And if you want more March Madness content like this, be sure to subscribe and stick around as I have much more coming this month. And with all that said, I'll see you all in the next one.